concern about a 25 amp fuse on a 12 volt garden lighting transformer feeding 90 feet of number 12 cable is valid. At the end of the number 12, a 25-foot piece of number 16 cable is attached and then buried under decorative bark or mulch. At the end of the number 16 is a lamp varying from 10 to 50 watts at 12 volts. If a short occurs at the end of the number 16 with no protection except the 25 amp at the beginning of the number 12 run, this poses a fire hazard. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, does not explicitly address this specific scenario. However, there are general requirements that apply to the protection of electrical circuits. Section 210.8 requires that a conductor be protected by an overcurrent protective device, either a fuse or circuit breaker, that is rated to interrupt the maximum current the conductor can carry. Section 210.20 prohibits the use of a fuse or circuit breaker with a rating higher than the ampacity of the conductor it protects. For number 12 cable, the ampacity at 12 volts is approximately 20 amps. For number 16 cable, the ampacity at 12 volts is approximately 10 amps. Therefore, the 25 amp fuse at the beginning of the number 12 run would not provide adequate protection for the number 16 cable in the event of a short circuit. A short circuit at the end of the number 16 cable could result in excessive current flowing through both the number 16 and number 12 cables. This could cause the cables to overheat and potentially start a fire. The decorative bark or mulch surrounding the number 16 cable could also act as fuel for the fire. To prevent this hazard, additional protection should be provided at the end of the number 16 cable. This could be done using an inline fuse or circuit breaker rated for the ampacity of the number 16 cable, approximately 10 amps. While the NEC does not specifically address this scenario, the general requirements for protection of electrical circuits indicate that additional protection is needed for the number 16 cable to ensure safety in the event of a short circuit. Consider the following points for ensuring safety in low-voltage lighting circuits. Firstly, always use appropriately sized wiring for the intended load and distance. Secondly, provide overcurrent protection such as fuses or circuit breakers at the appropriate ampacity for the smallest conductor in the circuit. Thirdly, ensure all wiring and connections are suitable for outdoor use and protected from physical damage. Fourthly, regularly inspect the wiring and connections for any signs of damage or deterioration. Fifthly, consider using low-voltage lighting systems that incorporate built-in overcurrent protection. Sixthly, when burying cables, use direct burial-rated cable and follow local codes for burial depth. Seventhly, be aware of the potential fire hazards associated with combustible materials such as mulch or dry leaves near lighting fixtures. Eighthly, if unsure about any aspect of electrical installation or safety, consult with a qualified electrician. Ninthly, consider the voltage drop of the cable because that could impact performance of the lights. Tenthly, check the temperature rating of the cable. The appropriate wire gauge for low-voltage lighting depends on several factors, including the wattage of the lights, the distance of the run, and the voltage of the system. Using too small of a gauge wire can cause voltage drop, which can dim the lights and shorten the lifespan, and can also create a fire hazard. Here's a general guideline. For short runs, less than 50 feet, and low wattage lights, less than 200 watts total, 16-gauge wire may be sufficient. For longer runs or higher wattage lights, 14-gauge or 12-gauge wire is recommended. For very long runs or very high wattage lights, 10-gauge or even larger wire may be necessary. It's always best to consult a voltage drop chart or use an online calculator to determine the appropriate wire gauge for your specific situation. Also, it is important to use a wire that is rated for direct burial if you are burying the wire. Direct burial wire is designed to withstand the moisture and chemicals in the soil. Finally, it is always a good idea to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that your low-voltage lighting system is installed safely and correctly. Overcurrent protection is a critical safety feature in electrical circuits designed to protect wiring and equipment from damage caused by excessive current flow. Overcurrent can result from short circuits, ground faults, or overload conditions, all of which can generate excessive heat and potentially lead to fires or equipment failure. The primary devices used for overcurrent protection are fuses and circuit breakers. Fuses are one-time use devices that contain a metal strip designed to melt and break the circuit when the current exceeds a predetermined level. They are simple, reliable, and relatively inexpensive, but must be replaced after each overcurrent event. Circuit breakers are reusable devices that automatically interrupt the circuit when an overcurrent is detected. They use a bimetallic strip or electromagnetic mechanism to trip the breaker and can be reset after the overcurrent condition has been cleared. Circuit breakers offer the convenience of being resettable, but they are typically more expensive than fuses. The selection of the appropriate overcurrent protection device depends on several factors, including the ampacity of the circuit conductors, the type of equipment being protected, and the specific application requirements. It is crucial to choose a device with a rating that is suitable for the circuit and equipment to ensure proper protection without causing nuisance tripping. Overcurrent protection devices are typically installed at the beginning of a circuit, such as at the service panel or subpanel, to protect the entire circuit downstream. They may also be installed at individual equipment locations to provide localized protection. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides detailed requirements for overcurrent protection, including the types of devices permitted, the ratings required, and the installation methods. Following these requirements is essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical systems. In addition to fuses and circuit breakers, other types of overcurrent protection devices include ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, and arc fault circuit interrupters, or FSIs. GFCIs are designed to protect against ground faults, which can occur when current leaks to ground through an unintended path. FSIs are designed to protect against arc faults, which can occur when there is an unintentional electrical discharge between two or more conductors. GFCIs and FSIs are typically required in specific locations, such as bathrooms and bedrooms, to provide enhanced safety. The ampacity of a conductor is the maximum amount of electrical current, measured in amps, that it can carry continuously without exceeding its temperature rating. The ampacity of a conductor is determined by several factors, including the size of the conductor, the type of insulation, the ambient temperature, and the installation method. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides tables that list the ampacities of various conductors under different conditions. These tables are based on extensive testing and engineering calculations to ensure that conductors are operated within their safe temperature limits. Operating a conductor above its ampacity can cause the insulation to degrade, which can lead to short circuits, ground faults, and fires. It is crucial to select conductors with ampacities that are suitable for the intended load and operating conditions. The NEC requires that conductors be protected by overcurrent protection devices, such as fuses or circuit breakers that are rated to interrupt the maximum current that the conductor can carry. The overcurrent protection device must be sized to protect the conductor from overcurrent conditions, such as short circuits or overloads, without causing nuisance tripping. The ampacity of a conductor is also affected by the ambient temperature. The NEC provides correction factors that must be applied to the ampacity ratings listed in the tables when the ambient temperature is higher than the reference temperature. These correction factors reduce the ampacity of the conductor to account for the increased heat generated at higher temperatures. The installation method also affects the ampacity of a conductor. Conductors that are installed in raceways or conduits may have lower ampacities than conductors that are installed in free air. This is because the raceway or conduit can trap heat and reduce the conductor's ability to dissipate heat. The NEC provides darting factors that must be applied to the ampacity ratings listed in the tables when conductors are installed in raceways or conduits. Voltage drop is the decrease in voltage that occurs along a conductor due to its resistance. Voltage drop can cause equipment to operate inefficiently or not at all. The amount of voltage drop depends on the length of the conductor, the current flowing through the conductor, and the resistance of the conductor. The NEC recommends that voltage drop be limited to 3% for branch circuits and 5% for feeders. To minimize voltage drop, it is important to use conductors that are large enough for the intended load and distance. You can also use conductors with lower resistance, such as copper instead of aluminum. It is also important to minimize the length of the conductors and to use proper wiring techniques. Voltage drop can be calculated using Ohm's law, which states that voltage drop is equal to the current multiplied by the resistance, or volts equals amps times ohms. You can also use voltage drop calculators to determine the voltage drop for a specific circuit. When calculating voltage drop, it is important to consider the total length of the conductor, including the return path. You should also consider the temperature of the conductor, as the resistance of the conductor increases with temperature. If the voltage drop is excessive, you may need to increase the size of the conductors or use a transformer to step up the voltage. You may also need to relocate the equipment closer to the power source. Regular inspections of electrical wiring and connections are essential for maintaining the safety and reliability of electrical systems. Inspections can help identify potential problems before they lead to failures or hazards. During an inspection, look for signs of damage or deterioration such as cracked or frayed insulation, loose connections, and corrosion. Also, check for signs of overheating, such as discoloration or melting. It is important to address any problems that are found during an inspection promptly. Damaged wiring or connections should be repaired or replaced by a qualified electrician. Loose connections should be tightened to prevent overheating and arcing. Corrosion should be cleaned and protected to prevent further damage. Inspections should be performed on a regular basis depending on the age and condition of the electrical system and the environment in which it operates. Older electrical systems may require more frequent inspections than newer systems. Systems that are exposed to harsher environments such as moisture or chemicals may also require more frequent inspections. It is also important to inspect electrical systems after any major events such as storms or floods. These events can cause damage to electrical wiring and connections that may not be immediately apparent. Inspections should be performed by a qualified electrician who is familiar with the NEC and local electrical codes. The electrician can identify potential problems and recommend appropriate solutions. It is also important to keep records of all inspections and repairs. These records can be helpful for tracking the condition of the electrical system and for planning future maintenance. Remember to turn off the power to the circuit before performing any electrical work. Use appropriate personal protective equipment, such as gloves and safety glasses. Do not attempt to repair or replace electrical wiring or connections if you are not qualified to do so. Contact a qualified electrician for assistance.